Hi guys, welcome to a new video, and I am actually doing a color with me as I tell you a story of Mary Poppins in my own version. So yeah, so grab a snack or grab a drink as I tell you guys this my own version of Mary Poppins, and as I color this for you guys. So this is actually the drawing I did of Mary Poppins floating in the clouds above the Big Ben tower, clock tower. And yeah, so it's gonna be in my own version. So hope you guys enjoy and stick around till the end to see the finished drawing. The finished fully colored drawing of this drawing that I did. So you guys are probably not aware that Mary Poppins was actually was made in the 60s. The movie was actually originally in the 60s. Was placed in the 60s, where women weren't allowed to vote. And, and then the Banks family, but, their mother was, their mother wanted to hire some nanny. They had their last nanny move out because she couldn't deal with the behavior of the children, Michael and Jane Banks, because they were very naughty children. So, with that being said, the kids decided, oh, we want to make a list for the nanny of what we want. So, they did that. They went over to tell their parents about what they want for a nanny. So they made a list. They brought it back to their dad, their parents, of course. And their mom was like, okay, just hear the kids out, darling. And the dad was like, oh, fine. And see what the kids wanted for a nanny. So as they were doing that, they wanted to take a stroll around the park, take them on outings, give them sweets, and other things as well. So the parents eventually were like, okay, we need to figure out a plan to get a new nanny. So they actually hired some other nannies that were like a whole row of nannies. There were a whole row, and they came to their house, and they were like, there was like a whole section row of them. But none of the nannies actually stood out to them because they were all out in the front yard of their house. So all of them were just, just patiently waiting, for their turn. Eventually, the northwest wind was blowing. So it was blowing, and with that being said, all the other nannies were just blown away. So none of them compared to any of the nannies that they wanted. So all of them just magically blew away. So one in particular nanny, that they did not know that this nanny actually had the list that the kids made. She actually got it when she was flowing down from the clouds with her umbrella. And she knew exactly what the kids wanted. So she was like, okay, this is the list that your kids made for me. This is what they want to go on outings and give kisses and give them sweets and sing to them and read a book to them. And that's what, Mary Poppins decided. So she decided, she said, all right, then I will see to the kids then. Cheerio. So she decided to see to the kids. So when she see to the kids were just really shocked to see this girl. They were like, oh, who's this, who's this interesting nanny? We've never met her. So she was interesting to them. So they were like, oh, she's kind of interesting. So we're not used to having a nanny like her. But in the bag that they saw, they were like, oh, so there's nothing in the bag. So they were pretty shocked to see that. They're like, oh, well, is there anything in the bag? I mean, come on. I mean, there just has to be something in the bag. So they were like, oh, this is like some mysterious bag that we've never seen before. So we're like, okay, this is kind of weird. So for them, it was kind of strange to see that for themselves, for the kids. And so she even gets out like a measuring tape, and she measures how the kids behave with other nannies. So she brings out this measuring tape. She measures Michael first. She goes, oh, of course, you have been, very, naughty. So then she measures Jane next, Jane Banks. And she goes, oh, you are a very stubborn young little lady. So she goes, yes, you are very stubborn and very, beyond your years. And then she goes, well, I can fix that. So she decides to fix the children's attitudes by being there. And, and then the kids are like, oh, they realize, oh, she's just, another nanny. But this particular nanny that they got was totally different compared to all the other nannies that they've had in the past. So, as Mary Poppins is getting settled in, she's also taken them on an outing. So, as she does that magically, she actually figures out that she meets her up with her friend Bert. Now, Bert is actually an artist. He's actually a really good artist. He actually does street art, which means he draws lots of drawings on the street. So his drawing in particular stood out to the children. They're like, oh, this is interesting. And, Bert was like, oh, I know that silhouette anywhere. Mary Poppins. So, eventually, Bert and Mary Poppins, they're friends, they're very special to each other, and they have a very special bond with each other. So, with that being said, kids were like, oh, these drawings that you do, but how do we jump into them? So the kids were trying to figure out how to jump into one of Bert's drawings. So the children were trying to do it a couple times, but they just couldn't seem to get it, right? They just couldn't seem to get inside the drawing of one of Bert's drawings. So eventually, magically, out of persuasion, she actually, Mary Poppins comes up and she goes, "Oh, that's not how you do it. Here, I'll show you how to do it correctly." So because she has magical powers, she can just magically jump in the painting that Bert had. And this painting was very specific. This painting actually had a carousel in it. So it had like a little park, with horses. It was really elegant and very pretty. So they eventually jumped into it. And they're like, "Oh, this is so pretty." So, like, this is not usual for us to do, but eventually the kids were like, "Oh, this is really interesting." And they were like, "Oh, we've never done that before." And then eventually Mary Poppins wins the horse race and she gets first place. And everyone was like, "Whoa, she is amazing." Like, just magically making everything just hunky-dory, and just blowing everybody away, basically. And so, as that being said, she was, she was like, "Okay." And then it started pouring rain. So, unfortunately, they had jumped out of the painting because it was raining. So, they're like, "Oh, okay." So then, all of a sudden, they were like, "Okay." They're on their next, and they're like, "Okay, well, what about our next adventure, with Mary Poppins?" So they're like, "Okay," they go back inside, and then, but, they were like, "Oh, Mary Poppins, you're just amazing at doing this, and, doing things that are unnormal and unlikely of you." And she's, she's very into, helping the children, the Banks family, because they had, eventually the children were like, "Oh, we don't want you to leave because we realized we really like you." And their behavior completely changes because whenever they're around Mary Poppins, their behavior changed completely dynamically because of how kind and sweet she was and how personable she was, and she knew not to mess around with these children and how to make them behave correctly. So, Mary Poppins was very elegant and very detailed with her work. So, she definitely helped the family out in that sort of way. Anyway, back to what I was saying. After the painting got all ruined and everything, they headed back home. They were like, "Oh, well, this is very fun, but," and then like, "Oh, yes, it is very fun." So Mary Poppins continued with her adventure with the children and going on outings with them. And she actually, along the way, she sings them songs and reads them bedtime stories and, and other things as a nanny would. So, as that is happening, she realizes something, that she has done her job to, help her out, to help the family out. But, as always, the dad's always so busy. And one day in particular, the dad was always very, very, into his work and everything else. So one day, on that particular day, Mary Poppins was like, okay, I gotta get these kids to hang out with their father. So, in doing so, she was able to do that and trick the kids into going to spend time with their dad. But with doing so of that sort, they were very shocked when they went to the bank with their dad. But fortunately, Mary Poppins wasn't going to go with them because she wanted them to go and spend time with their dad at the bank. So when the kids were at the bank, the kids misbehaved. They didn't really care about the whole money investment thing. Because, back in the old days, they could make money and stuff. So the kids were like, okay, this is not what we wanted. I don't want to make investment, I don't want to give money away and make it a huge investment. So that's what the kids were like. They were just like, no, this is not for us. I don't want to do this, Dad. And because the dad just thought of basically himself, and all the money that they could invest in, back in England. So that's how dads were back in the time of England. All they thought about was money and themselves and investing money. So basically that happened, and the kids were like, oh, this is not what we wanted. Dad, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing? And we don't want to invest the money. This is not what we want. We want to spend time with you. So the kids were like, okay, no. So they misbehaved at the bank. And unfortunately, the dad got a call again from the bank saying he had to come back. And so when he got a call back from the bank, they're like, we don't like how your children were behaving at the bank. And so he lost all of his wealth, investment money. And the bank wasn't too happy with how the children behaved, and the bank stocks and everything else. So they ripped his badge and tore his hat, and they're like, okay, you're not gonna come back ever again at this bank. So he eventually realized, oh, I'm not going to, because he realized in his life, Mary Poppins changed his life completely, because he was like, oh, you know what? I realized something. Mary Poppins changed my perspective on life. Not about money or future or stock bank, accounts or anything like that. He needed he had a big, huge eye-opener when when Mary Poppins changed his life. And so he started to sing, and his attitude dramatically changed. And he said, okay, I'm gonna just, be myself, because I think Mary Poppins has really changed me for the better. So I'm not always being always work, because that's how back then he was always into work. So eventually he left the bank in a happier attitude. So he didn't really care about having stocks or anything like that sort. So he decided in his tiny little happy heart, because his heart got completely changed by Mary Poppins. So he decided, what the heck, I would buy my children a kite. So he actually bought the kids a kite. So eventually, in the end, it was such a happy moment for the huge moment for the Banks family, because they had their father finally, because their father was always busy and never really had time for the children, and realized, oh yeah, he suddenly later realized, oh, I didn't have time for the children. So he was like, oh, I was being so selfish, I've been so careless, I didn't even care about the children. I didn't realize, I didn't have time for them. I was so busy with work. And so he was like, okay, I'm so busy with work, I didn't realize that the kids were important to me. So they were. And so they had other things going on. So eventually, as the happy family started evolving because of Mary Poppins and her magic ways of making the family get together, and that happened so dramatically for them that their lives actually changed, and that they were like, oh, we didn't realize we didn't spend any time with the kids. We always have to hire a nanny for the kids, because we never spent time with them. So that's what they realized in their heart. They're like, oh, we were so busy with other things. So, and eventually Mary Poppins changed their lives for the better. And with that being said, they realized, oh, I needed to spend more time with the kids. Not always hiring a nanny all the time, but actually be with the kids. So it was kind of a, fallback. But, Mary Poppins was one of their greatest impact on the kids ever, because the kids definitely had a different perspective on Mary Poppins, because she was a lot nicer and a lot more stern with the kids. And she had more of a stern personality, but very nice and very, hospitable, and, made sure that the kids had everything, and made sure that the kids cleaned up after themselves at certain times of the day, to clean up after themselves, and by using magic. So with that being said, the kids learned how to behave differently. They were very shocked. So they're like, oh, she taught us this, this, and this, and she taught us how to be more, you know, be more present in our life, be more, so, yeah, be more present in the life that we wanted and not be so naughty and, but learned to behave better as better children, because they wanted to discipline their kids, but the last nanny they had didn't go so well. And she went out the door, and she was just like, I'm tired of these kids. These are not nice kids. They're not behaving. They're not listening to what I said and stuff like that. And so that is why Mary Poppins came flying in from the clouds to help with the situation. So she was amazing. And she had an amazing way of getting the kids to listen to her. Because she had a very strict but very kind attitude for the kids. And also learned that she learned that what the kids wanted in an aspect, because the kids wanted, their story read to them, kisses, treats, go on outings, stuff like that. So, and eventually, it all magically worked for them, because they eventually wanted to get the kids to, see a different perspective. So when Mary Poppins walked into their house and set her stuff on the table, she realized, these kids aren't, they didn't know what was inside Mary Poppins' bag, because they're like, oh, we didn't know what was inside her bag. So they were just like, oh, this is so curious, They were just curious kids at the time. So, but eventually Mary Poppins changed their mind, changed their dynamic of it all, and made it really simple and easy for the kids to, So it was kind of like they kind of had to, get out of their comfort zone and figure out what was Mary Poppins all about. She was actually very mysterious for the kids, because the kids weren't really sure what she was like, and they're like, oh, we're just not sure what Mary Poppins is like. So, with that being said, they figured out themselves, they figured out, oh, Mary Poppins is just another original, character, or, nanny, an original nanny, but she was not like all the other nannies. She was very special nanny. So, she was a very special girl. She had magical powers. She could do magical and amazing things, like jump into paintings and sing songs with the kids and go on outings and, do other magical, crazy stuff, which is pretty amazing. If you say so myself. She was an amazing asset to the Banks family. She was an amazing person, basically. what I'm just trying to say is that she had a very kind personality and never gave up on the kids and never gave up on the family. Continued until her job was done, until it was fully completed. She was well pleased at how the kids turned out in the end. And they're like, oh, we really like Mary Poppins. So eventually things changed. They were like, this is not an ordinary nanny that we've ever had. So when she, helps the kids out and knows exactly what the kids want on their list and, gets right to work on it. So, and yeah, let me know, guys, if you guys enjoyed my version of Mary Poppins story. And let me know if you guys want to hear more of a different version of any stories that I ever tell or in my own version. Just let me know in the comments down below, guys. Because I will do many stories. So I will do stories with me coloring while I'm coloring a drawing. So that will be such a new thing for me. It's a new YouTube video for me. And I thought I would just add a story to that while I'm coloring this drawing for you guys. So let me know if you guys enjoyed that. And let me know if there's any other stories you want me to make as my own version, because I can while I'm coloring a drawing of a specific character I'm doing. So that would be so awesome if you guys could do that, and I will be happy to do that for you guys. And I will definitely do a specific character. And let me know if you guys want me to do any more, any more artwork and show any more artwork to you guys. And I would love to. That would be fantastic. So just let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the story of my own version of Mary Poppins, and if you guys want me to do that again, but in different characters, but my own version of the different character stories, while I'm coloring the drawings that I do for each character, I would most appreciate that. And I will definitely look forward to doing more of them. So, yes, but yeah, it will be interesting because I have never done something like that. And so it is something new that I wanted to try out, is do my own version of a story, but have a twist it on my own version. That way, I'm not copying somebody else's story. So, you know what I mean? So, I just did my own version of my own story. So, okay, without further ado, I'm going to show you guys the fully colored drawing of Mary Poppins floating in the clouds with the Big Ben clock tower. Here we go. Here it is. What do you guys think? And should I do more drawings like this or a different type of cartoon drawings with the really pretty backgrounds. Let me know. Let me know in your suggestions. Comment down below what type of drawings I should do and what type of cartoon characters or Disney characters you want me to draw and color and do an own version of the story with it. So let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed my version of Mary Poppins' story, and I will see you guys in the next future videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you guys liked watching me color this drawing while I told you a story and my own version of Mary Poppins. And don't forget, if you liked this, I will probably do more future videos of me coloring and telling you guys my own version of a story. Let me know, guys, in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all. Bye!